Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. Absolutely, it is. It's that good. We did it, got it done on a t-shirt. um, but tonight we are joined by a guest from the States, where most of our guests come from, to be fair. Um, this is writer and director Mr. Samuel Fronsman. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Greg. Thanks for having me on the show. We were talking earlier. You've had a lot of awesome people on the show, so it's an honor to be here.
Absolutely, and I always thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to come on. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we've been quite lucky with some of the guests that we've gotten. Actually, all the guests, anyone that wants to take the time out of their day to come on this show, they're more than thanked for it. So, um, but yeah, welcome to the show. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you'll have ever done a podcast like this show.
I was recently on one. It was called the NC-17 podcast, and it's a guy named Josh Wynn out of
Yeah,
Michigan in the States, and he has a lot of connections to like some of the Ohio independent film scene, and so it's a pretty much like a laid back conversational style, and he focuses a lot on kind of the horror thriller genres on his show as well. Um,
I've seen some of that. I've seen some of Josh's stuff. All right. Um, yeah, he does some good work out there. To be fair to him. Um, yeah, he seems to be quite a nice fella too. I've never actually spoke to him, but seems very easygoing.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I got in touch with him because he interviewed one of my close friends and associates, Richard Russell, and Richard got in touch with him because he interviewed another one of our good friends, James L. Edwards.
Oh, nice. The spiral continues. To be fair,
Exactly.
no. To be fair, that kind of happened to me when Mutilator 2 was announced. Mutilator 1 is one of my favorite films. Um, and when that started, we had a guest on called Anna Clary. She was the first guest for Mutilator 2 that I'd gotten, and then I kind of just worked my way down the cast. Literally, I'm pretty sure I had almost everybody.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, including Buddy Cooper, who directed the original one as well. And I was like, yes,
Oh, that's
yeah.
sweet.
And Ruthie Martinez, who was in the original one and this one, and I was like, yeah, we are laughing. So, yeah, it's weird when you see things like that spiraling down. And then like we've had Cheney Morrow on the show 3 times. He's a tied record holder on the show for appearances, along with Daniel John Carney, who's pretty much in every movie ever nowadays because he's a beast. Um, so yeah, like it's funny how you see it spiraling along with like because obviously the indie scene is quite close in certain aspects. So it's like going from friend to friend.
Hmm.
Mm,
Oh yeah, well, like we were talking earlier, with James Dean in the movie that he's working on right now, my Blade is Your Salvation. Like that one, I know a couple of the actors that I've worked with on other projects
mm.
here in Ohio, and now they're part of that movie too.
Big hype about that movie now. To be fair,
Hmm.
big hype coming, which is great because when you see indie horror getting the hype that it deserves, you know they must be doing something right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Um, well, that went straight off tangent, straight from the start.
Oh,
But let's let's step it back a second. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the business?
so the way I kind of got into everything, and I've talked about it before. Anyone that knows me knows that when I was in college, I originally went in because I was a big music guy. I had wanted to originally I wanted to do music, and it was like, okay, that's great. You need to find a career with it, and so I took up media, and thought that maybe I want to get into radio. And while I was there, I did that, but it just wasn't quite scratching that creative itch for me. And so I ended up taking because our program we had to take kind of everything from journalism to radio broadcast to video production and filmmaking, and there was a creative filmmaking course, and it was a course that I ended up needing very much at the time, and I didn't realize that when I signed up for it, but immediately there was something that clicked that said this is what you should do for the rest of your life, because this is, and what I love about film is it's this art form that is every other art form put into one. You know, you have the theater and the acting aspect to it. You have your visual arts with the cinematography and the lighting. The sound design has to come together. The writing has to be a strong script, you know. And going back to it, music is so huge as well in filmmaking, and I'm like, this is everything put together, and I can create these stories and put it up on the screen for people to see. And that same year was it was a rough year. It was the year that I had a lot of personal uh, family tragedy that was happening with my father and his battle with cancer. And during that time, I found that I latched onto filmmaking even more. And so I took what was a short film that I made for a class project, and then I turned that into a feature length script because I couldn't sit by myself, and I had to just do something. I had to always be working on something. I had to always be productive just so I wouldn't think about, after he passed away. And so that's what I did. And then I have this script and I say, this will never happen now. I wrote the script and I wrote a probably $200 million movie. I don't think I'm going to be able to make this. And it sat on a shelf for years. It sat on a shelf until after I graduated college and I start working part time as a scare actor for a haunted house near me, where I meet somebody who just finished his first feature film, guy named Andrew William Chapman, great person, awesome filmmaker. He had a movie called Scavengers, and he and I connected through working at that Factory of Terror haunted house. And he showed me this whole world of low budget independent filmmaking that was happening literally in my backyard that I didn't even know about for so many years. And so then I took that opportunity to get involved in as many projects as I could, whether it was helping out on, as a camera operator for a special stunt scene in Hellvan, whether it was a boom operator for a coming of age drama called Calendar, helping Andrew out on his next movie, Scavenged. And then I took my screenplay that I'd written back in college, revamped it, and I made it. And it just released this year now. So
Nice.
that's the spark notes of my story on filmmaking.
So from tragedy to profession, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like you read them stories of people that find things through personal loss. Obviously, your father passing away was unavoidable, or essentially, like obviously everyone passed away, but when he wasn't well, if you knew it was coming, it probably makes it that little bit easier. I suppose I don't know, but the way you kept your mind busy and um produced something, I'm sure probably helped your own mental state, kept you busy, and probably, well, obviously it did spark a creative edge that you had already, but just honed it into a different level.
I would I'd say so, yeah. It's one of those things now where I almost compare making movies to like an addiction or something, because if I'm it's my biggest coping mechanism. In a less less serious note, last year when I was shooting In the Hands of Fate, literally 2 weeks before we kicked off production for that film, my girlfriend ended up dumping me. And so I just went completely, fully invested into just all of my emotions, all of my energy went right into directing In the Hands of Fate last year, because it's like that's how I deal with things. I have to make something. I have to keep myself busy, and that's the only way I know how to really manage any kind of loss in my life. Is I have to make something out of it.
Well, I mean, it's a great way of just keeping your mind off it and keeping busy.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't go wrong with that. Like, some people turn to drink or whatever, turn to filmmaking that could potentially make you money is not a bad way to go.
No, and at the very least, you have a piece of artwork that you created at the very end, and it's something that you can show people, and it's something that you can, hope to entertain other people and make other people, give them an emotional experience and take them through a journey. And
Hmm.
that's what's nice about it.
Did you just get back together?
Oh no, no, yeah, no, she's
Fuck
not.
her then.
That's not happening.
Yeah, fuck her then. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
how it
No.
goes down on this show.
Yep. No, it's been well over a year now. She's not showing up anytime soon.
That you know of. Until she does. Do you remember in the Wedding Singer when you one leaves Adam Sandler and then she comes back halfway through the film? Yeah,
You never know. Maybe I don't know.
yeah. If she answers the door in a Van Halen t-shirt, you're laughing. Uh,
If she and listen, if she was in a Van Halen shirt, that surprised me.
I don't know. I don't listen to music, so I'm not even sure who Van Halen really are.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh,
I know the name, and I'd say if I put on a song or two, I'd know. But if you asked me off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
okay. No,
No.
that's completely fair. But I'll tell you, they're one of the most iconic rock and roll bands of the 1980s.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, as I said, I'm not big into music. So I know the names of bands, and if you put on a song, I might know the song, but might know who sang it.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I've been like that before too, like with different things where it's like, yeah, I know what that is, but I didn't know that that's what that was. It's
mm,
happened to me with many things. Definitely with some music as well. Usually if it's outside of like the rock and roll kind of heavy metal realm, usually it's like, "Oh yeah, I know that song. That you're telling me that was Miley Cyrus, not Katy Perry? Okay, I wouldn't know the difference."
I've made that mistake a few times. Um, they sound fairly similar.
Yeah, yeah. Corporate
Um,
pop.
no, so I'm just like, yeah, okay, grand. It is what it is. So I just get on with it. So most of the time, if I hear a song, I'll be like, oh, that's in that film, or that's in that film. My missus
Yeah.
would be like, why? What are you even talking about? And I was like, it's just how I know what it is. Mm, so yeah, sure. Anyway, so you get into making In the Hands of Fate. Um, you shot it in Ohio, did you?
Yeah, yeah, I shot it all. Pretty much mostly was in my hometown of Louisville. We mainly shot a lot in Louisville, Ohio, not to be confused with Louisville, Kentucky, which that's a fun side story. A lot of people do get that mixed up because it's a small town in Ohio that almost nobody except the people that live directly around it have ever heard of. But it was cool actually kind of making a movie where I grew up and like using certain, areas downtown that are like landmarks and using that in the film. And so um that was kind of a nostalgic trip for me of almost everything coming full circle with that, first feature.
Nice, nice. I'd say it is nice being able to film in your own town. Like you get to go home to your own bed. You don't have to sleep in a hotel. There's all this parts that you don't have to think about then. And obviously then you know where you can go and what you can use rather than having to go scouting locations.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah. And what was really cool is, and a huge shout out to Louisville's police department. It was so funny because nobody knew other than me, but we were shooting an action scene one night, and it was a fight scene, and we're shooting it right in the middle of downtown. And so I already knew. I'm like, okay, so we're on, some people's property doing this, that we got permission, but we are right out in the open in a small town where basically nothing happens. People are gonna freak out. And so I actually call one of the police officers there, and I say, hey, can you let the entire department, can you pass the word along that we are shooting an action scene right here? So I called the police and let them know what was going on, and he said, oh yeah, absolutely, me and some of the guys might even come out and check it out later just for fun, just to see what you guys are up to. I'm like, by all means, for sure. Well, that night we're filming this fight scene, and we got the one actor like on the ground like with fake blood and everything, other guys like boom, throwing some punches towards the camera to make it, and all of a sudden, police cruiser comes up, and then another one, and then another one, and like everyone is freaking out, like, oh my gosh, the cops are here. And I'm like, yeah, no, they told me they were coming, they want to watch the movie.
uh, with that, I take it that's a small town. As you said, nothing really happens, so it's quite a police force. When they see something, it's obviously a big deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Whenever something's happening in Louisville, like it's a very small community, very tight knit, and like it's one of those things where, yeah, like not a whole lot happens. Like usually, like in the fall, the biggest event is the high school football game.
Nice, nice. Well, I suppose like I'm from a big-ish town, so but like everything happens here. There's always trouble. It's great.
Mhm.
But yeah. So the film comes out. Where can people find it now?
Well, there's three places that people can find it right now. Streaming, it is streaming on Fossum, which, if you haven't heard of that, it's spelled like awesome, but you put an F in front of it. You can get that on Roku, lots of different devices. You can watch it online, any phone, computer, anything like that. The other streaming app that it's on is called Reveal. Now, Reveal, they're pretty cool. They're newer to the game. Actually, they're pretty new to the scene in general, and they used to be so, kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit on film distribution, particularly for people that self-distribute movies. The biggest aggregator that serves as like the third party between you and the actual streamers is a company called Film Hub, and they're huge. And I mean, Film Hub is partners with everyone from Netflix to Tubi, to a lot of smaller channels like Fossum, for instance, that a lot of people haven't really heard of, aren't as mainstream. Reveal used to be part of it, but they decided that they wanted to do things differently. And so Reveal does their own thing now. They're completely outside the Film Hub platform, and they work with. There's no middleman. They're the streamer, and they work directly with the filmmaker. And so when they reached out to me, and we instantly, like, me and them hit it off. And I think going forward, even before I submit movies onto Film Hub, I'll go through Reveal. So Reveal's the second place you can watch it. The third place is I have physical copies that are available to purchase on samfronsman.weebly.com. So if you want to buy a physical copy on DVD, there's that option as well.
I am listening to you, and I know it looks like I'm looking at my phone. I'm actually looking up that Reveal streaming site.
Yeah,
Um, so Reveal.
Reveel. Yeah, it's like two
Okay, okay.
E's. Yep.
I'm just trying to see if I can get it to come up. I doubt it's gonna work over here.
I don't know if it's international or not.
We're about to find out. Uh, never allow. Continue to the website. I'll have to check it afterwards because it's asking me to sign up.
Okay.
Um, so I'll have a look and see. Normally those things don't work. Like Tubi doesn't work over here and stuff. So
Well,
Roku doesn't
hopefully
work.
reveal that because like they're a lot more personal. I've found too. That's why
Mm,
I sang a lot of their praise in terms of streaming apps. Like they have a representative that I've met with one on one and just talked about, promoting my films, and actually they care about the filmmaker, which is rare because a lot of these big companies, they don't care about us. They're just grabbing as much content as they can so they can try to make a quick buck, and then in the end a lot of times the filmmakers are left, scraping at pennies.
yeah, it's business is business, isn't it?
Hmm.
And most companies like that will do what's best for business, whether it's crushing you or crushing anybody else. It's what's best for business for them.
Oh yeah. Oh
And that's
yeah.
not
But,
that's not to take. Obviously, it's a deterrent to you try and do your best for the movie that you've made to put it out. Um, but I can see it from both sides. Obviously, I have no hat in the ring, really. You know what I mean? I
hmm
haven't made a film and been done that way, but I use almost every streaming platform ever.
hmm
So I'm like, I can understand why they do it, but I can also understand your side of it.
Oh yeah, and well, that's the thing of it too is actually the way that I go about releasing a film is still the better way to do it, even though it comes with its flaws of being your own distributor. Um, that I'll say what you will about Film Hub, but they've put that power still, which, like I said, I think Reveal is doing even better than that. But Film Hub puts that power in the filmmaker's hands, to where it used to be you are stuck working with an outside company that will release your movie, and you basically sell the rights to it. It's like selling your soul away. You finish the movie, you sell to a distributor, and then you're locked in a contract for 5, 10, however many years that they get you to sign for, that you can't, the movie's no longer yours, and you only get whatever small cut that they allow. With Film Hub, at least I can say I might not make a lot off of it, but I have full control over the movie. So if I want to sell DVDs, I can do that. Nobody's going to tell me that I can't sell DVDs of my own movie because I never sold over the rights. I'm just licensing the rights for them to release on streaming platforms, but I still hold all the rights. If I wanted to pull my movie off of streaming, I could do it with no strings attached.
Mm.
So that's what's cool about, at least with the self-distribution model, is that nobody controls in the hands of fate other than me.
Well, that's the like. I'm gonna say that's the right way because you've obviously put everything into it, so you should reap the rewards from it. But that's not always the case.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes, like I say it now without obviously, as I said, I didn't have a hat in the ring, so I don't know. But sometimes maybe it is better handing it off and letting them do all the rest, and you just take what comes with it. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, and there's definitely a time and a place for that, and there's the reason why the traditional distribution model hasn't died yet is because there are instances where that is the right approach. I just find that that is a better approach for someone with a more established name. Maybe you have bigger actors in your cast. Um, it's working with a traditional distribution company is going to be better for somebody who has more leverage versus somebody who's, to the everyday consumer hasn't heard of, and then the distributor has the leverage over them. So it's
Yeah,
kind of, you kind of look at it where you're at, and I'd say, like, if you get to that level, then you can probably work out a pretty solid deal with a more traditional company that has better connections.
yeah. Um, see. I'm not like I'm not overly, and I don't claim to be very up on how it works. Obviously, you are because you're dealing with it. Um, for me, if I was in your shoes, I think my first movie I'd hold it myself. Whatever about second, third, fourth, or whatever. But I think that first one I'd hold. Um, but the difference is when you use a distributor and they can put you in connection with people, then you kind of lose out on that bit where it could come in handy further down the road. As I said, I have no idea. I just know I can go to a shop and buy the film, or I can turn on Netflix and it comes on. I'm not very up to date on how it works on your end.
Yeah, and there's always going to be pros and cons to it. The thing that's you really have to watch out for is there's a lot of companies that technically they're established companies. They've been around for a while, but they're very scammy. There's a lot of that, and a lot of people that aren't as familiar with the market. It's easy to get sucked into a scam deal with a company that isn't exactly all that they claim that they are. So it's something it's a very fine line of kind of paying attention to your surroundings and really doing your research before you do it, because not it's never going to be like a one size fits all approach, I find. But a lot of times, I typically advocate self distribution for people that are kind of starting out, just because even some of the bigger companies, they're not going to give you those better deals because it's a who knows who industry. And if you're not there yet, then they hold the cards and they're going to do what favors them. Typically what favors them is buying up a bunch of movies cheap, giving you a net deal, telling you that they'll hold your movie for 10 years, then in that time you can't do anything with it, and then they package it and sell it to overseas, and then you never end up seeing a dime from it. So that's kind of the way that the market kind of gone with streaming. Especially, it was different when physical media was more popular. When physical
Yeah.
media is more popular, there's easier to profit. It's easier to make money off of physical sales than it is on streaming.
Oh, absolutely. Because like once you pay for the disc and the cover, whatever you sell it for then is in your hand. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Well,
Absolutely.
until the tax man comes looking for it, but um, yeah, you see what you have. You're not waiting on whatever to happen. So um, yeah, as I said, I'm not too sure. I can't say, oh well, use this or do that. Like that's something you'll have to do for yourself. I think for me, I would hang on to that first movie until someone offered you like £1 million for it.
Oh yeah. If I if
Mm,
now if I had a deal like that, um, believe me, I would have been like, yeah, sure, yeah, you go ahead and sell in the hands of fate. Be uh we'll be happy there. But
I'll wash my hands. I'm done. See you later. Bye bye.
yep, yep, man. You want the access to the Facebook page? There you go. Market
Yeah,
it.
and I'll be walking out of it going, and you can take that to the bank.
Yep, absolutely.
Good all hard to kill. What a movie. What a movie. Right. So obviously I haven't seen In the Hands of Fate. Because I only found out about the streaming platform that it's on. Obviously we connected when I was abroad, so I didn't really do a whole lot. Didn't watch a whole lot. So you'll have to forgive me on that one. Normally I have at least one project that the guest in question has done, unless nothing is out in the case of one or two of the guests that we've had, but I've since seen stuff. I will try and get my hands on it somewhere, um, and I will let you know my view on it. Obviously, it won't be on screen, but I'll let you know what I think of it.
Yeah, I'd love to kind of get your input. I will say this. It's It's not a horror movie. My first film's not horror. It's a crime thriller that I blended the genres of traditional gangster film with more of I guess the way you describe it is they're fighting a Charles Manson like cult, and it's all over a stolen $50,000. So
Okay.
it's more of
I,
an action crime thriller is how I would
I
classify it.
obviously this is a horror show, and we'll touch on some horror now in the next few minutes. But for me, like I will watch almost any kind of genre. Um, I I do tend to watch stuff from guests that have been on the show, whether it be a romantic comedy or it'll be action or horror. Obviously, most stuff is horror because it's a horror podcast. Um,
Mhm.
but you know what I mean. I'll tend to watch stuff that guests have been in because obviously they've taken time out of their day. The least I can do is sit and watch the film. So I'll definitely give it a watch.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. And the next movie I'm doing though does go way more into horror. I wouldn't say well, so the movie that I'm working on now, Crimson Night. Have you seen Long Legs last year with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
You didn't care for it? Oh, you might not. You may or may not. You may or may not like Crimson Knight. I'm only saying. I'm only making the comparison because they marketed it a lot like a horror movie, and it has a lot of horror aspects, but it's definitely a psychological thriller. And that's kind of what I'm going with in Crimson Knight, where I'm blending the psychological detective thriller with only this time it's going to be with a vampire horror because they're
Nice,
actually going after a vampire themed killer who may or may not actually be a real vampire. You have to see the movie to find out.
nice. Um, yeah, like crime thrillers for me. I could nearly put into some of them fall into horror. Like I know people that don't count The Bone Collector as a horror film. I would disagree. Obviously it's a crime thriller, drama, horror, weird genre mix up, but like things like that, there are those ones that some people don't find horror, and I would. Do you know what I mean? I'd say you could definitely see why
Hmm.
someone. I wouldn't argue with someone if they said that's a horror film or
Hmm.
that. But then again, you could say, well, it's not a horror film. You know what I mean?
Right,
Mm,
right. It some of them really get near that line of where's that line between psychological thriller and horror? Where does that get crossed? And with Crimson's going to be even more because there are scenes that I'm going to shoot like a horror film. A lot of the kill scenes in it are going to be shot like a horror film. It is going to feel like a horror film at times, but then when we're dealing with the detectives, it's going to feel more of like a David Fincher Seven style thriller
okay,
following the detectives.
that's another film. Like, would you say that's horror or would you say that's thriller?
I would say it's thriller. But it definitely has a lot of horror elements to it. It's where that line meets. I would say it definitely I'd say more thriller, but it goes into that horror aspect. Like same thing with Silence of the Lambs, you
See,
know?
funny enough that you mentioned it. This conversation that came up when I was on holidays. My sister-in-law said it. So she started watching horror films now, and she said she watched that for the first time. She's only 21, 22, and she watched it for the first time. I was like, oh, well jealous that just get to watch that for the first time. She's,
Hmm.
she's like, I didn't like it, and I was like, what do you mean you didn't like it? And then she was like, it wasn't a horror film. And I was like, it's not supposed to be. I says it's about as far from it is a horror film in some aspects, but it's about as far away from it as it could be at times. But like
Exactly,
she was like, I
exactly.
didn't care for it, and I was like, I don't care for you. Yeah. No, Silence of the Lambs is phenomenal. It was the last
Yeah,
horror film to win the Big Five too. So
yeah.
uh,
Big inspiration for what I'm working on right now. if I explain too much, it's gonna spoil something though. So I gotta keep my mouth shut a little bit.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Um, right. So obviously we can't touch too much on Crimson Knight because it's still in production
Actually, it's still in development. I'm
or development.
fundraising
Sorry.
for it right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I'm raising money on Indiegogo right now to shoot it. We're taking it into production next year, and then I plan to release it next year as well. Because I follow a mindset of when I'm shooting something, in between shoots, I'm editing it. So by the time that we're wrapped with production, I have a rough cut, and then I spend a few more months polishing it out in post. So that's why I'm able to like shoot something and then have it released pretty quick. But
Nice.
yeah, that's like it's a year out. Right now, I'm just raising the funds for it.
And obviously you have an Indiegogo on your page there for it where it can be found, and we'll pop the links in the description below when the episode comes out, and see if it helps you out any much. So enlighten me then, right? I normally throw out some hard hitting questions throughout these episodes to people. Um, let's see where we go. Throw me your top five movies, horror movies.
Top five horror. And this is where it gets tough because we gotta debate what's considered a horror because what I want to say is my number one is not exactly a horror. It's more of a but it we'll throw it out there and see if you see if you're if I don't know if I'd call it a horror, but some people do, and that's From Dusk Till Dawn.
What a
And
movie! What a
yeah,
fucking movie!
it's one of those where it starts off very much like it starts off as a crime thriller following the robbers on the run, and then
Brilliant.
once when they get to the titty twister and the vampires just boom, it slaps you in the face. And if you and I watched it the perfect way. I didn't know it was a vampire movie. I
I
was
was the
like,
same when I
oh
watched it the first time.
yeah,
Uh,
and that's why I think I hate the sequels. I've watched the sequels, and it's like it doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't work when you already know it's vampires. It doesn't work. You have to watch it and get surprised.
That's why I never bothered watching them. Um, I I was literally talking about this to the lads in the group chat earlier. So I sent in a video I seen on Instagram of it's a cup of From Dusk Till Dawn and Sinners, and nearly like the same mannerisms in From Dusk Till Dawn appear in scenes in Sinners.
Hmm.
So like from where you see them smoking to when Salma Hayek turns to a vampire, it has Haley Steinfeld as the vampire. It shows like it was just like it was obviously a nod to the film.
Hmm.
Um, but I was like, one of the lads was like, "Yeah, it can be done with most films." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's more so the fact that if you don't know anything about either of those movies and you turn it on and you watch it for 40 minutes, you have no idea there's a vampire going to show up."
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's like, "Fuck you, let's go." Do you know what I mean? So
Okay.
like, it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Sinners because I saw that this year and I love it, but I have three problems with it. I only have three problems with Sinners,
Enlighten
and I
me.
don't know what's that.
Enlighten me.
The the dance sequences felt too campy.
The Irish one.
The that I just didn't see the vampires breaking out into song and dance. It felt weird. I'm like, why are they breaking out into dance? I
It was
understood.
phenomenally done.
I guarantee you, it was phenomenally done. But it just, to me personally, it felt very out of character for them at that point. It just felt a little bit weird
But
why they did that.
does it really though, considering they were singing at the pub door?
But they were
It's
trying to
nearly like they
trick
were
them.
taking the piss out of them.
Eh, I'd
That's
have to
how I took
rewatch
it.
it with the new. Uh, I guess for me, it kind of came so far out of left field, which is like the other one was, and I actually love the music. Um, but the one blues segment was so great, but then all of a sudden people from the past and future start showing up.
Only problem I had with the movie was that I did
Yeah,
not
it's
like that
so
scene at
so
all.
weird. Yeah, we're watching him playing. He's playing the blues, and it's like, oh, that's such a cool scene. And oh, now they're twerking, and they're from the future. That's weird. Why is
And
that
now there's a
happening?
DJ, and then Jimi Hendrix was there. I was like, what the fuck is this? My missus
That
was like, yeah, listen, they just said that music can bring you forward and back in time. I was like, I don't care. I don't care if they said it does. Jimi Hendrix is in the 60s, and that guy is playing a techno song that was probably out now.
Yeah, I like it as a metaphor, but when they tried to make that more literal and literally use it for like showing like people from the past and future, it was so weird. Like I was at the theater with my buddy and he just like nudges me on the shoulder and just whispers in my ears like, "This was such a great movie until now."
Yeah, it's the only thing I didn't like about the movie.
Well, I have
That
one
scene
more
alone.
problem.
Okay, go on, enlighten me. Oh, sorry. Technically, I have two. I have a little gripe with the ending of it,
So do I.
and the timeline of being in the river, and all of a sudden the sun comes up.
Well, that wasn't my gripe with the ending. My gripe with the ending is that when they go into the future and you see them all, you know, grown up, and then the vampires show back up to have a, you know, to see them, right? That was a post credit scene.
Yeah,
Why? Why couldn't that just be the ending? Why do we have to sit through the part of the credits to get the actual ending? Are they trying to set up a sequel? Because it doesn't need a sequel. It could be a one and done.
they're leaving it there as if they want to, but then they leave it to you going, well, if you walked out of the cinema, fine, but every film seems to do it nowadays. I have no issue with the post credit scene.
I
To be
love the
honest,
scene. I just wish it wasn't post credits.
the mid credit scene was okay. They could have done it there, and then that had been that. But yeah, it felt a bit long. It was 6 minutes, I think, from the ending to that.
Yeah, like, the
Um,
only reason that I didn't miss it is because I saw other people not getting up, and I'm
hmm,
like, "Okay, and someone's onto something that I'm not." But it feels
my
like
mate, my
after.
mate,
Yeah.
he missed it, and I was like, "What do you think of the post credit scene?" He was like, "Yeah, it was good." I was like, "What do you think about the other ending?" And he's like, "What you mean?" So he had to go and find it online. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the ending. I thought it was brilliant. Even the little throw to Black Panther was good. Now it's so subtle and it could be used for the film, but the way people have put it together that it was meant for Chadwick Boseman. Obviously, Ryan
Mhm.
Coolidge directing Black Panther when Michael B. Jordan's like the last time I seen my brother alive was on a hill with the sunrise, obviously where he dies, and Black Panther sitting on the edge of the hill. I was like,
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
Mm. The cast were brilliant in
Oh,
Sinners.
absolutely. Oh,
I
like I said.
I I was watching it with my missus, and you know when it goes and finds Omari in the cotton fields, I looked
Mhm.
at it and I was like, he's not gonna be all right in this film. I was like, he is so dead, and he doesn't even know it yet.
Mhm.
Uh, and she was like, "What you mean?" I was like, "He's going to die badly." But yeah, okay, so that's one. Dust Till Dawn is one.
Okay, now, yeah, we gotta get to number 2. I'm gonna give it to the only horror movie that ever actually creeped me out, like, actually gave me goosebumps, made me feel uneasy, actually kinda scared me. Because 'cause I'm hard to scare, but Sinister, that
Movie.
movie, oh, that movie screwed me up. Sinister, there's one scene that, like, lives in my head rent free that, like, literally when I was watching it, my skin crawled, and it's Ethan Hawke was, like, he's got the video with, Bagul paused on the computer screen, and he, like, turns around to, like, to look at some of his notes, or I forget what he was doing, but you just look at the screen, and, the Bagul just goes, like, subtly turns his head, and I'm like, it came at a time where I was like huge onto a lot of the kind of YouTube ARG, like Meat Sleep Ben's Playhouse, like watching a lot of this kind of, you know, fake type of mystery horror type of content where you're trying to figure out what's going on, watching these cryptic videos. And
Yeah,
so it. literally, I remember when I'm watching Sinister, and I'm like, because I now I feel like I can relate to kind of what's going on because I was watching weird stuff like that on my own. And I'm like, oh, if I like turn my head from the screen and the freaking video pause and look at me, and it's weird because there's a lot freakier stuff that happens in that movie. We're not even getting into
Like
the hangings, lawnmowers, axes, all that other fun
the
stuff,
swimming
right?
pool.
Yeah, but it was just for me. What really does it is when shit hits the fan in the movie, it hits the fan, but the movie does such a good job of just being creepy and building suspense too. And I
That was
think that's what really did it for me was the subtlety and the creep factor and the suspense of it.
that was mine and my missus' first day.
Oh, really? Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Went to see Sinister in the cinema. Yeah,
Oh, that would make a great first date.
yeah. It was until I grabbed her leg and she nearly killed me. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
listen. I know how you got to do that. Like I said,
Mm,
I'm also a haunted house actor, so like when I see an opportunity to get someone, I'm gonna do it.
yeah. See, I can't go to those haunted houses.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
somebody gets knocked out
Ah,
involuntarily. Like
yeah.
myself and Ted, one of the lads that comes on the show quite a bit, Ted, went to Manchester a
Mm,
couple of years ago for the horror convention they had, and they had a haunted house, and we got tickets to it. And I got to it, and it looked like as if I was terrified. I was like, I can't go in because if somebody comes near me, I don't mean to do it. So most of it, like we had to crawl through stuff, and like I started taking the piss. Then it was good, like, but like I was crawling through with my hands in my pockets and stuff. And one guy comes out of the tunnel, and I could see the door sliding because they were still setting up. It was the first night, and I could see the door sliding. And I was like, all right, okay, so someone's coming here. I'll be fine here. So they take me leg to try and drag me back. So I just started scooting back to get into the little hole with them. I was like, where are we going? And, and stuff. But like I had to walk my hands in my pockets. I was like, I can't.
mm.
I just can't.
Well, as an actor, there, trust me, yeah, if you do it long enough, you're bound to get hit. Very first year that I ever was doing scare acting, and then I got my third movie. I'm gonna name off here in a second, but just this little side story. First year I was doing the scare acting, I was working a bedroom, and there was a mannequin that's on the bed, and so what I was doing was, and it was cool. We had like a little button. If you press it, it would actually, the hydraulics would start setting the bed up in the air, like levitating, like full exorcist type. It was badass. But I'm laying there like a mannequin myself. I hear him coming. I stop breathing. I'm completely still. I'm in the most awkward, contorted position possible that no sane human being would ever consider laying in. So people think I'm a prop, and then I hit the hydraulics button, fly up in the air, do my bit, start screaming, whatever. Well, this group comes in, and they're like debating, and I always got a kick out of it. Oh, that guy right there, he's real. No, that's not real. That's fake. Look, he's not moving. We're already in here. He would have moved by now if he's real. No, it's real. And I hear it, and then all of a sudden, before I have time to react, the guy says, "Oh, I'll find out if it's real." Boom! I jump up. The dude hit me square in the nuts, and I was like chasing him through there, and I was like telling the manager, like, "Get that guy out of here."
No, you gotta take the licks when they happen. I mean, if
Whoa,
you if it's a good way of making sure that you're real, because no fella's gonna
yeah.
lie there and be like, and if he can take it and just lie there, there's something wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, there's something wrong, but not that wrong. But no, I've been hit accidentally many times. I don't care. It's when somebody tries to start a fight like on purpose or purposefully tries to do something. That's where, like, to me, it's like that's that fine line, fine gray area. Because like if I scare somebody and then they, uh, I get slapped in the face, which has happened many times. I love it because I know it was involuntary, and I know it just means I'm doing my job well.
Yeah. I actually, before you give me your third movie, I have a movie for you to watch. It's called
Okay.
Haunt Season.
Ooh, okay.
It's literally about scare actors in a house.
Okay.
Mm, I think we've lost you.
Did you lose me?
Yeah, just there for a second. Yeah. Um,
Oh, okay.
Haunt season.
Yes, haunt season. Yeah,
Mm.
I'll have to check that out. I'm gonna move with you a little bit because I'm gonna grab. Oh, where is it?
Oh, it's
Uh,
physical media.
uh-huh. Yes, I have lots of stuff, but if I can find the damn, I just figure at this point I might just grab some of the movies that I want to talk about and like
Yeah.
actually show them off because a lot of my favorites I own on DVD. So we've done From Dusk Till Dawn, we've done Sinister, my third movie,
Ah,
Rob Zombie's
movie.
Devil's Rejects.
I'm not a fan of Rob Zombie at all.
It's hit or
Apart
miss,
from
but this
apart
one's
from
fantastic.
apart from those three movies, I wouldn't be didn't like 31. Um,
Really?
no, didn't like it. Just I tried my hardest with it, and I was like, no. The two Halloweens were atrocious.
Mm,
Um,
I agree with you on the second one.
See,
I,
I'd
I,
be the other way. I would say the second Halloween is better than the first one.
really?
Yeah, that's how bad I really didn't like that first one.
Well, let me ask you, what was it about the first Halloween that you didn't like?
Um, so the fact that Michael was about 84 foot tall, he was just a big unit. Like, um, obviously he gets arrested in the canon story. He gets arrested when he's a child and he's put in prison. He like he's just too physically imposing for me to be the shape, really. You know what I mean? What he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, the movie itself, I don't know what it is. Like even to an extent, House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Tree from Hell. I the pacing just gets me in some of it. I find myself getting extremely bored with the way he style, and like it's his style, and it's every movie is the same. Not well, not
Mm.
obviously not the same, but the pacing way he does it is the same, and like people are either gonna love it or hate it. And for me, I seen those two when I was younger, House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, and they were phenomenal. But every other one I've watched after that has just been, I'm just like, no, not into it.
Mm.
And the fact that he casts his wife who can't act to save her life, can't act.
I mean, I'm not. I won't argue. I won't argue with you on that, except with the exception of
Of Barbie,
House of Thousand Corpses,
yeah,
huh? Yeah,
except for
and
the
Devil's
Firefly,
Rejects. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Because that role. She just. I mean, she was able to just be herself and be all kind of loopy and goofy and
yeah.
crazy, and it works, because that's the character. Um, but actually, I have a perspective, and this is why I understand why so many people hate Rob Zombie's Halloween remake, but why I actually like it. And it's nothing to. First of all, I'll just get this right out off the gate right now. Never ever will I ever claim that it's better than the original. Nothing's ever going to beat John Carpenter's original Halloween. That's the movie. And what I like that Rob Zombie did is he did something different with it. He didn't just do what John Carpenter did. Whereas if the original timeline with Michael Myers is he is the shape. He is more of the embodiment of pure evil, more of the boogeyman character. And obviously, sequels, they'd really dive into, maybe jumping the shark a little bit too much on the supernatural side of
The
it.
cult, the cult was
Yeah.
atrocious.
Right, right. But there was always that mystical aspect of it, almost supernatural aspect of him. Like he's taken, gunshots and all this other, and he just gets right back up. But Rob Zombie didn't do that. What he did was he said, let's strip away all the supernatural stuff. Let's just tell the origin story of an actual serial killer. and put the Michael Myers mask on him and do Halloween, but do it more. This is realistic. This is in the real world. And to me, I love that he did something different with it. And then the reason I hate the second one so much is because, as we talked about, he likes to put Sherry Moon in everything. So, oh no, she's killed off of the first one. So let's start doing dream sequences where Michael Myers is seeing her on a horse. Like that, that completely ruined it, killed it for
He,
me.
he
I
just had to
hated
put
that
his
stuff.
wife back into it.
Yeah, I know, but it was like for this one movie, he should have just not did that because that was so stupid. But the first one to me is like, no, it's not better than the original, but I'm glad that he didn't do it like the original because otherwise, why do it? He did it like a realistic, gritty serial killer origin story.
See, this is the thing I had when I seen. So Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror movie of all
Oh
time.
yeah, Nightmare is actually let's actually Nightmare would be my number four. Nightmare
Oh,
would
okay.
definitely be number four.
Um, but when I went to see the remake in 2010, right? I watched it the first time in the cinema the day it came out, and I was like, I walked out of the cinema and I was like, I don't know if I liked that or I didn't like it. So I went again next morning and I came out and I hated it. But for 40 minutes of that film, they were doing a really good job of moving away from the original one. And
Hmm.
then it's like they kind of went, well, I don't know what we have to do now, so let's just mash it back to the original one and go with that. Now, the Freddy Krueger look was atrocious. Um, Jackie Earle Haley's voice was phenomenal. I think
Oh yeah, he was a
for
good actor. It's just that the effects on him were complete dog shit.
it was Rooney Mara's worst performance of her career for me. I didn't think she was in it at all. Kyle Gallner was good. Clancy Brown. He's awesome and everything. Um, the movie was just a train wreck after it tried to muddle itself back in.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that was the reason I was touching there. You said you like what they done with something else with Halloween. Um, I liked what they tried to do with Nightmare, but it just didn't work for them because they gave up on it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and it's funny because I actually have a the reason why I love Nightmare on Elm Street so much is it was and obviously I'm talking about the original one, not the remake. But my first experience ever with Freddy Krueger was the remake. That was the first one that I'd ever seen. And no, but at the time, I thought, I don't know what I would have been 12, 13 years old watching this, and I thought that was the coolest, most badass, movie I'd seen, in my lifetime at that point. And it was what set me off to want to check out the other movies. And obviously then the next one I go to is the very original one, and then I watched it. Now it's like, oh wow, that first one I thought was so cool. It sucks. This is
yep,
the one I like, you know? But it's funny because the remake made me want to check out the original, which to me is, when you look at the classic slasher villains, Freddy Krueger is my favorite of all the classic slasher villains.
so
Um,
I, I don't know whether you've seen any of the back catalog. I've mentioned it on quite a few shows. Freddy Krueger to me is the slasher that saved slashers.
mm,
He reinvented the way it was done. He reinvented it in a way that he weren't slow, walk you down, take 5 million shots and just keep coming. His was methodical. It was torment, punish you, and then take you out.
mm,
And then his humor was just ridiculous. Robert was just. I've said it. I said it when we had Gary Smart and stuff on the show, who done Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story. Um, he's the last great horror star. Like people will still say Kane Hodder or to an extent now David Howard Thornton with art. I don't think anybody of them are in his league. Um, he's just the embodiment of horror. Really, people will say, "Oh, well, what about Nick Castles for Halloween?" he was a guy behind the mask. There was no.
Hmm.
It could have been you. It could have been me. Do you know what I mean?
Right, and it's not to take
And
away from the performance, but
no,
it's
no,
like
no. It could have been anybody.
exactly.
There was no like, and people will hate on it. There was no personality to it to make it their own. Like, and that's why it changed. Every Halloween movie was probably a different actor along the way. Do you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Um, Same with Jason. Jason had five, I think, or four actors along the way. Before Freddy versus Jason, and then the newest one, which actually wasn't that bad. But yeah, to me, he's the last great action star, or last great horror star.
Yeah, unless something else comes down the future, you never know. But as far as right now, yeah, I'd have to
Mm,
agree. I mean,
yeah,
Robert Englund is just another level of legendary.
yeah.
But I do have one other because we were talking about great horror stars, and I have one other, and this gives me to my fifth movie now. And it's certainly last but not least, but Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn.
Bold choice here.
Mm-hmm.
Bold choice. See, we only spoke about this. I recorded a podcast at the time of recording last night. So by the time this episode actually comes out, it will have been the week before's episode with Dennis Callow and Bethany Watson, who done Trouble with Tessa, and we were talking about Evil Dead and how Evil Dead 2 made the basically the same movie, just funnier, um, with a better budget, um, and obviously dawned Ash into a superstar. Um,
Yeah,
for me, I I would watch two quicker than I'd watch one, but one's a better film.
one is a better horror film,
Yeah.
but two is a better movie, if that makes sense.
Yes.
In the way
So
I look at
yeah, this is also something I've said before. You can have a great film and you can have a great movie, right?
it. Yep.
Schindler's List, amazing film. Are you gonna watch it every year? No, you're not. I've seen it
Right.
twice in my life, and I don't think I need to see it again. Do you know what I mean? Big
Right.
Trouble in
Yep.
Little China, amazing movie, and I watch it all the time. It's my favorite movie of all time. Do you know what I mean? So like, you can have a great film and a great movie. The rewatchability will always go to a movie rather than a film. Like Oppenheimer was phenomenal, but you're not going to sit and put that on every other week or every 2 weeks or whatever.
Right. Right. It's not like it's not your comfort. Hey, I'm gonna have a beer and some popcorn movie. You know.
I'm gonna have a beer and some popcorn. Let's watch Schindler's List. Uh, do you know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah, exactly. Nobody's
Uh,
doing that.
Evil Dead 2 definitely had more of the comedy in it, and the Deadites were really brought to the front, which was quality. Um, yeah, I get, I prefer, again, I can't say I prefer. Um, for me, if I was to go out of that whole franchise, I'd go the 2013 Evil Dead.
You know what? I like the 2013 Evil Dead, but it just as good as it was, it never hit the same for me as the originals. But then I just when I got into it, and I was this was during my formative years in middle school when I'm at over at my buddy's house. We just came in from shooting each other with BB guns, and he's like, dude, I got this really cool movie to show you, and he just throws Evil Dead 2 on, and I'm like mesmerized. I'd never seen anything like that badass in my life. you
S-
know it
So
just
this is
it just stood out in my mind so much, and it's like, to me, I mean, I look at the just the original three: Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Evil Dead is definitely the original's definitely more horror. The second one blends in a lot more comedy. Army of Darkness, too much comedy. the way I look at it, Evil Dead 2 is like that perfect blend of still having the horror, still having the comedy,
I'd
not
agree.
going too far the other.
I'd agree. With that thing, like the depends on what you want, really, isn't it? If you want a dark movie, you go
Hmm.
one. You want an easier one, you go three. You want the good mix, you go two. Um, three for me is out of the originals is arguably my favorite because it's the funniest one to watch.
Oh, it's
Uh,
hilarious. I love it. That's what I said. Like, I love the whole franchise, even like the Ash versus Evil Dead series that they
mm,
did.
that was quality.
Um,
That was amazing.
yeah, it was fantastic.
It took me 4 years to finish it, but I finished it. um, but I love how in that TV show it tells you that the 2013 one wasn't a remake.
Hmm.
And then obviously you had Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rise, which to me would have been top of the list, other than the creature that they brought in at the end. If they hadn't have brought that
Hmm.
in and just left it as zombie deadites, I'd have been laughing, and that would have been head and shoulders above everything else. But the creature lost it for me. I was like, nope, I'm out. And I knew,
Yeah,
and it's worse because I knew it was coming. Obviously, when you see it in the book, I was like, please don't do it, please don't do it, please don't do it. And then all the bits started attaching to her. I was like, oh,
yeah,
rough. But like the
yeah.
whole build up to that, the whole hour and 40 minutes or whatever it is before that happens is it was unbelievable.
Yeah, Evil Dead is just to me it's just a franchise. The franchise as a whole is something that's like a huge inspiration just overall. And I've mentioned how my movie last year in the Hands of Fate is not it's an action crime thriller, gangsters versus a cult. Well, there's one line from Evil Dead 2 that I loved how snappy, and witty Bruce Campbell was with the one-liners in it. The best part is I love swallow this. I love that. I love that line, right? And
Okay.
so what I did in the Hands of Fate was I took the same energy. I changed the line. It's not swallow this, but I have because the Deadite's going, I'll swallow your soul, whatever she's saying. He's like, swallow this, boom, blows her away. Okay.
Mm,
Well, what I do is I have the cult member bursting out of the door of when they're at the fighting in the cult compound. He's like, cast out the demons, waving a gun around. Main character Donovan just goes boom, and then says, "Cast that out, bitch." I love
nice.
the snappy dialogue, and like it's to me, it's like that's what I like drew in inspiration from when I'm going into writing my stuff. You know because I wanted to. I That's what to me when I'm watching it, it's like that's like what felt badass. Like felt like I'm watching a cool movie. I'm watching something that just has this sheen of just cool.
I mean, it's a great line that um, it's not the best line that he does in the film in the franchise. I meant to say, how about some hot coffee is the best one.
True, true,
Uh,
yeah.
or this is my boomstick when he's in Kandar. Um, that like he had so many great ones in them movies. But obviously everyone's always gonna have a preference on what one they prefer. Um, but I mean, like that's not a bad list. Evil Dead 2, Nightmare on Elm Street, Sinister, From Dusk Till Dawn, and Tree or Devil's
Devil's
Reject.
Reject.
Which
No, I've
actually
also got Hate from
we
Hell.
kind of skipped over that one a little bit because I got drawn into Rob Zombie and.
Right.
and so we'll go back to that just before we finish. Devil's Rejects is a phenomenally shot movie. Um, it's dark, it's gritty, it's comedy. Um, it's got all sorts of craziness. You've got the three Firefly family members. This one for me um, is Bill Moseley at his best. I think this is his best one of the trilogy.
Hmm.
Um, Sid Haig, obviously, for the very little that he was in the original in House of a Thousand Corpses, he steals the show. Um, um, like Tree or Devil's Rejects, the ending to that movie is just off the charts.
Oh yeah.
From
Oh, seriously. It's like we were talking earlier about how like you'll hear music and just be like, "Oh yeah, I know that from that movie."
yeah,
Well, not saying that I
Freebird.
didn't know Freebird before. Yeah, but now when I hear Freebird, I'm always going to associate it with that final showdown at the end. They're driving down to face off with the cops and get shot up. That's why I don't know if you heard me, but when he did the third movie years later, Three from Hell, I actually was frustrated. I watched it and thought this was horrible and completely ruins the ending of The Devil's Rejects.
It did. That was my problem with it. I thought like it could have just been a different family and make a movie out of it and just make it crazy and wacky and off you go. Um, I wasn't a major fan of three. I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't like how it basically nerfed the end of Devil's Rejects.
Hmm.
Um, there was no need for it, nor like obviously people will want it, but there was no need to do it. It was a perfect ending to take the three of them out, and that was that.
Hmm.
Um, and everyone, I'd say everyone that was fans of the film were happy at the end of it and went, "Oh yeah, that was awesome." Um, I think there's probably more to it. Obviously, Sid Haig was sick at the time. Maybe it was
Right.
one more payday or one more something. I don't know. And I'm not denying the man anything by that statement. Do you know what I mean? He earned everything. He actually has a new movie out now that came out a couple of weeks ago. Sid Haig does, and he's been dead since 2019.
I was gonna say, well, I was like, I thought he
Yeah,
passed away. I was like, hold on, he's got a new movie.
he does.
That's
Yeah, there's a new movie that only just
no
came out.
way,
Huh.
no way, and they just never released it all this time until
Yeah,
now.
I'll get the name of it and I'll send it to you when we get off this.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I gotta check that out. That's crazy that they would have been like sitting on it that long unfinished, or
mm,
however long it took them to actually get it done.
let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Sid Haig movies. Advertising conferences. I do forget that Sid Haig was in Bone Tomahawk. As much as I've watched it, it's so good. It's so good.
There I forget what I've watched recently. I was watching some just random B movies, exploitation films from the 70s, and I like saw Sid Hagen like popping up in different ones, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh
he's
my
mad.
god,
He is.
young
Yeah,
Sid Haig. Yeah,
he
he's a
appears in
well.
loads.
Mm-hmm.
It's mad. Like he's got such a fucking what 72 results as an actor. It's not on his IMDb, so I'll have to go and figure it out. I'll go and find it and I'll tell you what it is. Um,
Okay.
I'd say
Yeah,
what it
because that
is.
one's crazy.
I'd say what it is just like a picture of him in the corner or something. I don't know, but I'm intrigued.
The one I see when I look it up is it's saying Abruptio.
That's it. Yeah,
Apparently with Jordan Peele
it's what?
and Robert Englund. What the hell?
Did you say it's got Jordan Peele in it?
Yeah, it says Jordan Peele as Danny, Sid Haig as Sal, Robert Englund is Mr. Salt,
Oh yeah,
Christopher
yeah, yeah.
McDonald as Police Chief Richter. Uh,
Yeah,
that's nuts.
it's mad, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, and it says it came out in 2023 and it's streaming now on Tubi.
yeah.
That's insane. It says it's a horror animated film. So it's an animated movie too, at that.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I'm probably not gonna
That's
watch it
what
then.
it says. It says it's an animated film.
I just seen it pop up on one of the streaming things I have. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. But if it's animated, I'm probably not gonna watch it.
Well, what I'm looking at is it's looks like it's animated, but like almost like stop motion, like claymation type.
Oh no, no
Actually,
thanks.
yeah, it looks. What was that show on Adult Swim that was is it Robot Chicken or whatever? It
Oh
looks
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that. That's what it looks like.
No, thank you. I've had enough. No, 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 no.
I don't really
Yeah,
typically watch animated stuff either, honestly. Like, there's very, very, very few exceptions. I'll watch something animated anymore. Pretty much, I watch anything.
The new Predator movie was good in animation.
I haven't seen
Uh,
it.
Killer of Killers. It was pretty good.
Was it? I haven't
Yeah,
seen that one.
and I wouldn't be mad on animation now, unless it's a kids' film. But that's entirely because I sit and watch them with the kids, and
Hmm.
yeah, partially for me too because they're brilliant. Well, the older ones are. But right, I'll tell you what. Throw me your top 5 movies of all time then before we finish. Doesn't have to be horror.
Oh. Oh, now we're gonna get even tougher. Well, am I allowed to cheat? Because one of the top five horror is a top five of all time too.
So from dusk till dawn.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
Right.
know
So
I'm a Tarantino guy.
yeah, give me 5 then that aren't from dusk till dawn.
Well, obviously, Pulp Fiction is definitely very high up on the list.
Nice. Pulp Fiction's class.
Do what's that?
Pulp Fiction is class.
Oh yes. I'm going through all of my all of my movies because I want to throw some in from different aspects. Another one that's like huge for me, and I can't find the disc. I must have. Oh, no, here it is. I have was Scorsese's Taxi Driver. It's my favorite Martin Scorsese movie is Taxi Driver.
Really?
Yes, I love Taxi Driver. I mean, I'm a big Scorsese guy too. But Taxi Driver still it's still my favorite. I've seen a lot. I haven't seen every Scorsese film, but I've seen a lot of them, and that one still sticks with me the most.
It's fair. It wouldn't be mine now, but it is very good. Uh,
Um, I'm bringing my light over, so that would be a huge one. I would also have to see now. I got to get to with David Fincher's one. We talked about it earlier, and I got to admit it because it is the biggest inspiration for my new movie Crimson Night, and it would be Seven.
Only rewatched that with the wife there recently. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's you know what, and it's because it's got such a sad but iconic ending. You know what I mean?
It's just one of
It's
them moments, isn't it? It's like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like when it's, but it's such an iconic twist. What's in the box, and then it's one of those where when you watch it the first time, it floors you because when you put it together, it you like it rocks you, like it really does. And so, like I once again, I got to be careful what I say when I say that Crimson Knight is inspired. It's not going to have that ending, but I will say it's gonna shock some people. It is gonna what I'm gonna do in my movie is going to surprise people because it's not going to be what people are thinking. So what do we get to?
That's
One,
3.
two, three. That's three. All right, I gotta throw it out to Brian De Palma with Scarface.
Nice, nice.
Classic. I mean, I love a lot of De Palma's films. It's so that's where it's tough because I mean, then part of me almost wanted to say Blowout, but honestly, Scarface is more inspirational for where I took my filmmaking career. So I have to
I
give it to Scarface.
I I said on a podcast recently that he's probably the best director to never win an Oscar.
I never realized that. I mean, I don't pay that much attention as even as a filmmaker. I've never paid that much attention to the Oscars, but he's never won an Oscar.
Nope.
That's nuts.
Yep.
You know what? I have my issues with the Oscars. Sometimes they really miss. They really miss. There's some great movies
Well,
that just don't
I
win.
mean, they gave that dickhead Jordan Peele a fucking Oscar for best original film for Get Out. That's not an original film. So I have my I have my gripes with the Oscars along the way, but sure.
Yeah, no, they did. It's I mean, for lack of a better terms, it's a circle jerk among the Hollywood elites. That's all it
Yep, pretty
is.
much. Although I
Uh,
was very surprised last year when Anora, when Mikey Madsen won it for Anora.
I will say that definitely was interesting. Well, did you see that part of it was rules were changed? Did you hear that there was an actual there was a rule at one point where they didn't actually have to watch all the films that were nominated before they vote on the winner. They didn't actually have to watch them all the way
Oh,
through, watch all the movies.
well, if that rule hadn't changed, she didn't win that Oscar because I don't think I've ever seen an Oscar winner have closed off for most of the film where she, like, obviously in most Oscar wins they're dressed. She was scantily dressed for most of it.
Hmm.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it because of the type of film that it was, but I just didn't think it was an Oscar win. Now, fair play to her, she won the Oscar for it, and it was a brilliant performance. Do you know what I mean? But was it the best performance of the year? Maybe not for me,
Yeah.
but that's just how that one goes, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, a good friend of mine, you know what a good friend of mine once said, and he said it actually during a test screening of In the Hands of Fate when I had him over. And I use this quote. I love it. He goes, "Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, but mine smells like vanilla cream."
Fair enough. That would be the hemorrhoid cream.
Yeah.
That
I should have clapped back at him with that one.
that's
No,
the
he's
that's the response.
my that's my buddy Lonnie, James L. Edwards. He's got so many quotes, like some of the things that he says. I actually keep a list on my phone of just funny quotes that Lonnie has said that I'm going to use in a script. And so I'll be hanging out with him on set for another movie, and he'll say something completely off the wall, and I'll say, "Okay, let me write that one down. That's going to make it into the con man script," which actually leads me to my number five movie. I was thinking about it for a while. That's why I stalled a little bit to give myself more time to think. But I got to give it to, and I'm not going to try to get it off of here. I got it over here on my big stack of DVDs. But Fargo.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I haven't seen that movie in years. It's so
Got
good.
your buddy in the wood chipper.
Oh, it's so good. It's
I
so good.
love it. Well,
I'm gonna watch that tomorrow.
it's the perfect to me. What it is it, it's the perfect blend of dark comedy and crime thriller.
Yep.
You can't do like it is the best blend of dark comedy mixed with crime thriller, and it's the
It's the
inspiration
Coen
for
brothers. Like, what
exactly.
more do you think you're gonna get? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what's fun with what's always fun with the Coen brothers. Same with like the Big Lebowski.
Oh,
Like
I
that's
love the
another
Big Lebowski.
classic.
I love it so much.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, and I was just watching today, earlier today before we were on the call. I was watching another Coen Brothers movie, Blood Simple. That one
I
was
don't think
good
I've
too.
seen that one.
Oh, it's an older one. I think it came out sometime in the. It was one of the earlier movies, but it's kind of like I could see the seeds being planted for what they would eventually do in Fargo. So I won't give it away, but it definitely has almost a little bit of more of a classic film noir kind of feel to it,
Oh,
but with a little bit of that dark comedy as well. Basically, a guy is hiring someone to kill his wife and her lover, but then all shit just completely breaks loose and becomes a clustered mess for everybody.
oh, actually, I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, with his
Blood Simple.
bar owner that's
It's
hiring.
Francis McDormand. Yeah, I have, and Dan Hedaya. Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah,
And
I
then
was watching
I
that
for
earlier
some reason
today.
or another remember that under a different name.
No, it's Blood Simple. I was
Hmm.
honestly, uh, it's really great. It's an underrated film. It's an underrated Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah, yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, I actually only watched. Speaking of Francis McDormand, I only watched Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri when we were away, myself and herself. It's so
Mhm.
fucking good. It's rough as fuck, but it's so good. But what we'll do is we'll leave it there for the evening. Then it's been great to have you on and have a chat. And obviously we touched on In the Hands of Fate. I'm gonna try and get my hands on it and have a watch, and I'll get back to you about it if I can, if I can get my hands on it. And we'll go from there. We'd love to have you back on for maybe just a movie chat one of the days if you're up for it.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. I had a lot of fun just kind of going into that. I used to do a show and I'd always ask people at the end, if you could only bring three movies with you to a desert island, what would you pick and why? And then I'd never answer it myself because it'd always be so hard. So I had a lot of fun you asking me like, okay, give me your top five horror, now your
Uh,
top five in general. So it's like, that puts me on my toes now. I gotta think on it, but
Now I've got one
that was
more
fun.
I've got one more top five for you because
Okay.
it's a new thing that I'm doing um in the last 3 weeks. Give me your top five John Carpenter films.
Okay. So I'm gonna be so I feel like I'm gonna be so damn basic with it. I gotta because sometimes I've probably seen way more of his movies than I even realize because sometimes I put a movie on don't even see. So let me double check real quick that I got it all. Okay, so that one's gonna be an underrated one if I go with that. Two of them are going to be very just like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with that. Okay, you said you said five.
Yep,
Okay. The one that I just watched, I want to start with one that's not going to be overrated right off the bat. And I just watched it was Assault on Precinct 13.
amazing.
Yes,
The
I
score, the
just
kid
recently watched
getting
it. It was so
shot,
much fun.
the kid getting shot in the chest. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Uh, Okay,
Now,
Assault on Precinct 13. That's five, is it?
yeah, so the obvious one, honestly, it's just knock both of them out. Halloween and The Thing have to make the list. I mean, if they don't, I mean, what is the list?
Where are you
So,
putting them though?
oh, I got to rank them now?
Yeah, top five.
Oh, shoot. Now you're really.
I'm throwing out the haymakers
Oh,
right at the end here. This is
yeah,
what you this is what you
you
call the
really
kill
did.
shot.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nostalgia wants me to put. No, all right, scratch that. Let me change my number five then, because I want to put The Fog at number five
Okay,
before Assault on Precinct 13, because that one at least has to be number four.
okay.
Yeah, I didn't know we were necessarily ranking them. What I
That's
can I'm gonna have to put, and this is nostalgia speaking, but just personally, it's my list. I'm gonna have to put Halloween at number one, even though it's the most probably popular basic answer I could do. But
Halloween hasn't been number one on anyone's pick yet.
are you kidding me?
Nope.
Halloween was such a like turning pivotal point in just my life. That's
It
insane.
hasn't it hasn't been number one for anybody yet.
That is insane.
Mm.
Okay. Okay, so here's where we'll go then. I'm gonna make it the definitive five. And like I said, this so the fog,
Yep.
assault on precinct 13.
Yep.
Um, I will go with the next one. I would put the thing,
Okay.
Christine, and then Halloween at number one.
Okay.
That's where I'm gonna have
Three
to.
Two of those movies haven't made it into anyone's list yet.
Really?
Yeah, Christine hasn't made it into anyone's list,
What?
and Assault on Precinct 13. But your list is invertedly wrong, like completely wrong. Because Big Trouble in Little China is John Carpenter's greatest movie.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna offend you then really quick. I actually haven't seen that one, believe
Oh,
it or not.
well, I can let you away with it then if you haven't seen it. But if you've
Yeah.
seen it and don't have it in it, then you get hit. But you need to go and watch that. That's the greatest John Carpenter film ever.
Well, I'll tell you another reason I definitely need to watch it because it's the biggest inspiration for a filmmaker friend of mine who's doing a he's doing like an 80s style martial arts action film called Ninja Tempest, and I'm actually going to be acting in that movie. And he said that Big Trouble in Little China is like one of the biggest like influences for when he was writing the Ninja Tempest script. And so if I'm going
Right.
to act in his movie, I probably should do my research.
It's just phenomenal from start to finish.
Yeah.
For me, it's my favorite Kurt Russell movie. It's obviously because it's my favorite movie of all time. Um, but yeah, you need to go and watch that. There's your homework. You're not allowed back on the show until you've done so.
And then next time I'm on the show, I give you my take on it, which I guarantee you I'll guarantee you I'll like it. Just looking at it, and I'm on the IMDb right now. Like I said, that's one of the ones I haven't seen because it's a lot of you know a lot of times you think of the horror movies, right? And so like
It's
you're instantly going
it's got
to
elements of everything.
yeah.
Yep. But that's where I'm gonna leave it. I can't call you out like I did to the other people that didn't put it in because you haven't seen
Okay.
it. So you get away on a technicality.
Yeah, but then
Um.
the next time you talk, then all of a sudden it better make my list, right?
Yep. Pretty much.
Okay.
Um. But best of luck with the Indiegogo for the new film. Best
Thank
of
you. I
luck with
appreciate it.
the distribution of In the Hands of Fate. Um. And we wish you every success in the future. And we'll definitely keep an eye out on where you go. And when you want a review done for the newest one, you know where we are, providing that she
For
hasn't
sure.
killed me off yet. But that's a different story. But folks, what I'll do is I'll leave it the way I leave every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.